What's up, sports fans? It's time for another picks and predictions, and coming off of a perfect week, which was so amazing, so amazing. In fact, I even actually got a dislike on the last one. I don't know what I said that pissed people off, maybe because I got a perfect week, actually annoyed somebody. I don't know, but I won my $50, and now I'm actually back in the middle of the pack. I honestly, right now, I think I'm like 46 out of like 65 people. So that perfect week only got me out of the basement. It didn't leave much room for me to be anywhere near the top. So once again, I was allowed to be excited about that, right? That being said, the following week wasn't so grand, right? We got 7 wins. 7 out of 13. We broke even. We pretty much broke even. 74-46. The Chargers beat the Vikings to no one's great shock, but then the Falcons lost to the Dolphins, and the Bengals losing to the Jets by a hair. These were some big, in my opinion, upsets that I was not expecting. Followed up by an obvious New England Patriots, Eagles, and Buffalo Bills winning their respective games, but everything sort of felt off after these initial 2 o'clock games definitely felt off. I don't know for anybody else, but for me, and I said, there's going to be some weird games, aren't there? And lo and behold, the Ravens, even without Lamar Jackson, still managed to win. And I'm like, okay, so I don't pick the Ravens. And I do pick the Bears because, I have no idea. I have no idea how to pick the Ravens anymore. I don't know how to pick them. Do I pick them when they're down, or should I pick them when they're winning? I just don't understand anymore. So I figured with Lamar out for another week, this was the game to pick against them, and I guess it wasn't. I have no idea. And then the Texans do beat up on the 49ers. Okay. Did I miss the memo? Did I miss the memo for this week? Was I just sitting in la la land because I got a perfect score the week before, that I wasn't paying attention to like anything that went on? You know what I mean? Granted, I've been working overtime. I've been working regular 40 hours and then plus working overtime, just trying to catch up for such a bad summer and get some bills paid, that maybe I'm not paying enough attention to what exactly is going down with these football scores. And granted, I am a casual football fan at the best of times, but still, I don't understand how some of these happen. Once the Buccaneers beat the Saints, I was like, okay, things are starting to make sense. And then my boys absolutely get destroyed by the Broncos. And there's no real excuse for that. The defense could not stop the Broncos, which we needed a few stops. And once again, this is an offense that, we should have let Aubrey try his hand at a 70-yarder. And we actually should have let Aubrey a couple of times. This could have been about a 1-possession loss for us. A loss is a loss is a loss. But it would have looked way better on paper, in my opinion, if we had let Aubrey kick a few of those 4th and this, 4th and that, or the times we were in the middle of the field, because we know that this man can beat that record. We know this man has a leg that can do a 70-yard field goal. Why not let him try? Especially if you're gonna lose the game anyway. What's the difference? If you're already down by 3 possessions in the third quarter, let him go for it. At least let's break a record, a league-wide record, history-wide record. Why not at least get something out of a losing game, right? So I just didn't understand those choices. We had an easy 9 points at minimum that we just chose not to grab. And you can't expect the offense to be perfect every week. We cannot expect Dak to not throw interceptions a couple of times throughout his season. And we also can't expect him to always go down the field for a winning drive every single time. Nobody. The Patriots didn't expect it of Tom Brady. So why do we hold him to this higher regard? We have the number 1 offense. The numbers prove it for weeks in a row. We still have the number 1 offense league-wide, but we can't rely on them to put up 40 points every week just to win by a possession. That's a ridiculous standard. There is nothing wrong with our offense. We just had an average game for once. We didn't have an 11 out of 10 day on offense, and somehow that makes the game terrible. No, it's our defense. 100% defense problem. We just have to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what to fix. I want Tony Romo as offensive coordinator, but once again, that does not fix the defensive problem here with the Cowboys. So I don't know how to do it, but yeah, it is what it is. I thought about it. I told you guys that. I thought about picking the Broncos, and I really should have. So Colts over Titans, to no one's great surprise, that happened. Packers over Steelers. Honestly, was weirded out about this one, but the Packers did win. And then the Commanders was a Hail Mary. And once again, I got a good friend at work, or a work friend, an acquaintance, who is a huge Buffalo Bills fan. And he notices these little nuances when his team goes up against Kansas City. And I was noticing exactly what he was talking about. Similar to the whole how Parsons hasn't gotten a holding. All of a sudden, he's getting holding calls the moment he leaves Dallas. Interesting. Interesting referees. But the Washington Commanders, all of a sudden, we have a tie game. An evenly matched game for the first half. Not a quarter. Not a few minutes. Over half the game. And all of a sudden, Washington's being called for quite a few weak penalties. And then Kansas City goes up by 2 scores. And then all of a sudden, oh, there's no yellow flags ever again. Yeah. They used to call it the Tom Brady rule. I thought it would die with him, but apparently now we're really starting to get that Patrick Mahomes rule. See, as a guy who doesn't give a shit about AFC football until it comes to my team, I'm starting to understand why certain Jets fans, Bills fans, some of the other AFC teams have been a little ticked off with Kansas City for a while. Okay, I'm starting to see it because I watched this game with a, complete binoculars, monocle, the whole bit, and I said, this is odd. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to talk New World Order here. I'm just pointing out the facts that there was very little penalties in the half. All of a sudden, they were in a tie game with the favorite, can't do no wrong Mahomes. And penalty flags start flying. They go up and the penalty flags stop. Coincidence? Sure, let's go with that. Anyways, moving on to this week's picks. Okay, so starting us off tonight with Thursday Night Football, we have the Ravens over Miami Dolphins. Lamar is back, and if the Ravens can win without Lamar, they certainly can win with him, and Miami is weird. I don't understand Miami. Are they hot? Are they cold? Are they about to turn things around? No idea, but I got more faith in especially Henry, Flowers, Lamar. I've got more faith in these people than I do anybody on the Dolphins. So assuming that the consistency and they want to prove something, especially Lamar Jackson, if he wants to come back and say, look, I'm back and I'm ready to play, I think he's got a little bit more to prove. Even Miami fans aren't expecting a great game, so from the ones I've talked to, so I think we're okay with a safer pick in the Ravens. Then Bengals over Bears, no question, not picking those goddamn Bears again, if I can help it. Lions over Vikings, to no one's great surprise. Packers over Panthers. Chargers over Titans. Falcons over Patriots. Okay, to be fair, I could understand people picking Patriots in this one. Patriots over Falcons, I get that. I was sort of wishy-washy with this one myself. And by Sunday, once again, every pick is subject to change. Though I hate changing picks because I've only been burned doing that. And I've never won anything doing that. So I like to lock in and trust my initial gut more than I like being wishy-washy, as it were. 49ers over Giants. Honestly, this was the hardest pick. I really want to pick those Giants. I really, after that loss last week, I really think that the Giants are starting to sort of build some momentum, turn a few things around, while the 49ers are like, we're supposed to be good. Why aren't we good? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those. The Colts, obviously, no question, over the Steelers. Texans-Broncos should be an interesting game. Because even though the Broncos scored an insane amount of points over the Cowboys, once again, worst defense in the league. So let's cut that number in half. I still don't think the Texans are scoring 25-ish points on the Broncos defense if the Cowboys were barely scratching those numbers. You know what I mean? So I got to give it to the Broncos. I think they're on a bit of a streak, and they're a very good team, aren't they? Like 5-2, 6-2 right now. They're 6-2 going into this week, I believe. So this is not a weird pick as far as I'm concerned. Jaguars over Raiders because the Raiders have always sucked. Rams over the Saints because unfortunately the Drew Brees era is over, and Rams are my second team. Got to go with them. Bills over Chiefs. Now, this is fun, and this is why I talked about my work friend at work. Because him and his Bills go up against the Chiefs more often than my Cowboys face the Chiefs. And I said, what do I do? He goes, hey, man, look, if it's a fair game, in his own words, he said, this game is not controlled by the refs. It's going to be down to he still says it's going to be anybody's game in the fourth quarter. If it's controlled by the refs, Bills are going to lose. That was the long and short of a very angry Bills fan. A very angry Bills fan. And I get it because I saw it happening. And Washington's in my division. Realistically, I didn't give a shit who won. But I didn't like what I saw from just an unobjective point of view. I didn't like that refereeing. So we will see. I'm going with the Bills because I don't want to believe that the Tom Brady rule still exists in football. I'm hoping. As a sports fan, I understand there's no way the game is squeaky clean. No major sport is squeaky clean. But I don't want it to be this blatant. You know? I really don't. So I'm going to go with the Bills here. And then Seahawks over Commanders. No big surprise there. Seahawks are looking like they're going to be... Everyone calls them the dark horse. And I'm like, they're not really the dark horse. They're just not... They don't just have that... They don't have that Patrick Mahomes on their roster that they just don't have that all-star superstar name labeled on there that everyone's talking about them in that regard. Nobody really talks about the Seahawks, but they're a good team. They're a very good team, and I think they have every bit deserved to, kick the crap out of the Commanders. And then finally, Cowboys over Cardinals because fuck the Cardinals. Fuck those birds, all right? I would pick against the Cowboys if they were against... Right now, if they were against the Rams, the Seahawks, the Colts, Packers maybe, Lions, I would pick against them. I should have picked them against Broncos. But the Cardinals. I don't care if we lost 90-0 last week. I would never pick the Cowboys over or the Cardinals over the Cowboys. I don't think I'm ever going to do that. That'd be like me picking the Jets over the Cowboys. I'm just never going to do it. So there are certain things, there are certain rules to football. And one of them is there are certain matchups that you go, never. I don't care if this team has literally not won a game all season. I'm not picking them over, A over B. It's just never going to happen. So my Cowboys over the Cardinals, this is not a playing with my heart pick. This is just the sensible, nobody should pick the Cardinals this year, period. Let alone pick against the Cowboys when the Cardinals are facing them. So, anyways, that's it from picks and predictions for week number 9. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, this video will probably not be produced or available until, I'm going to say, near the end of the Baltimore Ravens-Miami Dolphins game. I'm just really behind on video content and stuff like that, so it is what it is. But yeah, it's still it's being recorded before the game, so it is what it is. I'm trying to keep pace with this, but things got away from me this week. I worked a couple of nights plus, regular shifts, so it is what it is. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see all you sports fans back here for the next week of picks and predictions. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Have a happy Halloween, however you like to celebrate it, and we'll see you guys back next time. See ya.